written with one picture for each chapter to show you what's going on. These pictures, all which are very typical of women's painting style, show an interior scene. It's usually very calm, very beautiful, and an emphasis on love and romance. There are any number of novels that followed Genji. The Pillow Book is one that dates a few years later. So this idea of love and romance became very, very popular in Japanese literature. Now, there's also some things that we see in this picture that we see carried over into anime. For instance, if you look, you'll see that we're kind of looking down on the scene. If you can see, I'll wander. Sorry, I wander a lot. We're kind of looking down. There's no roof here. Call this fukan, or blown away roof, or bird's eye view. It's a very popular, if you think about, in anime and manga, that's a very popular way to depict a scene where you're up here looking down on something. Primarily, or a lot of times, when maybe there's a little bit something strange going on or unsettling going on. Now, otoko-e, or men's paintings, are characterized a little bit differently. First of all, they don't usually have a whole lot of color. There's a lot of emphasis on action. This story, The Tale of the Flying Alms Bowl, tells the story of the very famous Japanese monk, Myoren, who was said to have magical powers. He lived up on a mountain, and in Buddhism, the monks do not have any money. They get their food by begging, and good Buddhists give food and alms money to the monks to help them support their lives. Well, Myoren didn't walk around carrying his bowl, his alms bowl. He sent it to gather alms for him. And in this story, he sends his alms bowl, which is right here, to the home of a very wealthy man. And the bowl goes to the door and waits. And nobody pays him any attention. So after a while, the bowl gets mad and steals the granary, the building where the household's rice is kept, and takes it away. And that gets a few people's attention. And you can see people here leaving the compound, running after the bowl. Very typical otoko-e, or men's picture. A lot of action, not a whole lot of color, and no words. And if you all think about in shonen manga, there's a lot of pictures, a lot of action, a lot of funny angles, a lot of grunting and groaning going on. But there's no big talk about, oh, you know, does so-and-so love me? Not a whole lot of talk and emphasis on romance, not a whole lot of emphasis on words. So these are the two primary painting styles that have come down to us through the century, which have a direct relationship to anime and manga. Shoujo, girls' stories. Anybody know what this is?
Magical,
Magic Knight
Yes,
Ranger, right? An early Clamp story, the tale of three junior high girls who are going to be separated, and they don't want to be. They moan their separation when they go to high school. And of course, in typical anime fashion, the heavens, or the earth opens up in this case, and they find out they have magical powers and they have to save a small world called Saphira. They need to learn to work together. But if you look at this and think about what that Tale of Genji picture looked like, you'll see there's a lot of commonality. We have beautiful people in beautiful clothing, a lot of flowing lines, a lot of color, an emphasis on romance, because of course there's a handsome prince in the story, or a few, and such. But there's an addition. that makes it different from traditional Japanese stories. And that is the emphasis on girl power. The ability for a girl to take control and solve whatever problem is facing her without needing to wait for a guy to save her. And I always use my Fay Ray and King Kong example, where in King Kong, Fay Ray, help me, save me, save me. In shoujo anime, the girls figure it out for themselves. All right, shonen, boys' stories. Again, emphasis on not so much color, although, who's this?
Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin. We'll talk about Rurouni in a minute here. A typical samurai story. The emphasis on action. A male protagonist. Not really wordy. If you've read the manga, there's not a whole lot of big dialogue going on. But a man on a quest. In this case, as I said, we'll talk about him in a minute. So we have anime and manga that are coming down with basic truths, basic premises that have their roots in medieval Japanese literature and in painting. In the case of Rurouni Kenshin, samurai. Now, samurai is the word for both the Japanese warrior class in Japan that was active beginning in this Heian era, so the 8th century AD, and an individual member of that class. And we see here a late 19th century photograph of 3 samurai done up in all their